Today on Locked On Canadiens, are we worthy to walk the same earth as Lane Hutson?
You're Locked On Canadiens, your daily podcast on the Montreal Canadiens, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi there, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of Locked On Canadiens. I want to thank you all for making us your first listen of the day. Every day, as you know, we're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube as part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where you get your team every day. My name is Laura Saba. I'm one of your hosts, also known as the Active Stick, and today you will see 3 tired but smiling faces instead of 2 tired but smiling faces because it's a very special Locked On Canadiens reunion. I am joined, as always, by my wonderful co-host Ian Boisvert, as well as my former co-host Scott Matla. We all went to that Buffalo game, and we all appreciate Lane Hutson. Scott, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful to have a reunion in Buffalo. There were pizzas, there were chicken wings, and most importantly, there was a Montreal Canadiens win over the Buffalo Sabres, which was my biggest fear, that I made friends drive several hours to potentially watch them lose in sub-zero temperatures in New York. So
I told them once I got up there that the last hour of the drive, I was just stewing at the thought of me driving 7 hours and having them lose. But instead, I know you guys have talked about Lane Hutson. Ooh, yeah, whatever. We saw a Christian Dvorak masterclass on Saturday night in Buffalo. The greatest, his single-handedly greatest game as a Montreal Canadian. I don't think that's an exaggeration. He was incredible.
he's had a hat trick as a Montreal Canadian, and this is
better.
Better.
And the best part is most of it was mistakes anyways, where it's
it just turned out to do something right or to work out.
It's the most failed upward sort of thing I've ever seen in my life. Even watching the highlights back, I was like, why did you do any of this? And it worked out. So this is why I am just posting on the internet, and Christian Dvorak plays in the NHL, I guess, but I'm going to maintain the things that he did that helped them win this game were also somehow the wrong decision at the same time.
Yeah. And also, I just want to give a quick shout out. We ran into 3 very loyal listeners at the show, the Roberts brothers, the brothers Roberts, as we should say. So shout out to Jordan, Nicholas, and Kyle for hanging out with us. It was a lot of fun. It was nice meeting you guys. You guys scared me by recognizing me. That was the first time that's ever happened. And I thought I was gonna throw up, but we made it. Everything's fine. So it was good seeing you guys. Thanks for stopping us down. Let's talk about the game.
Yes.
Lane Hutson was incredible. 2 more points. We're now at a point with Lane Hutson where there are 22 games remaining. He needs 19 points to pass Pistachios for sole possession of rookie defenseman scoring for the Montreal Canadiens. What are there anything? Is there anything about Lane Hutson that we can say that hasn't already been said in some way, shape, or form? The dude just rules. Every game he just rules.
I was listening to Game Over while I was driving back, and there were some arguments made that this might have been Lane Hutson's best game as a Montreal Canadian. I do think that he controlled the game from start to finish, like whenever he was on the ice. But I don't know if it was his best game because he's so good that I feel like I remember him putting together efforts like that at least 2 or 3 other times this season. I just, and it is different. And I want to ask you guys, watching it live versus watching it on television, how did you feel?
There were points that I'm watching Lane Hutson with the puck, either in the end of the ice that we were sitting at or up on the board, where he gets the puck and it's just, he's in a different state of zen when he has the puck. He makes plays happen. His assist to set up, I believe that was it was the line A to Caulfield goal, that he threads it in the air from his own end to Nick Suzuki's stick in a bump pass that breaks it into a 2-on-1. And I just don't know I've never seen Canadiens players able to make that pass with regularity, and he does it so well. Watching him with the puck, he enters the zone and he stops on a dime and everyone's going in the other direction, and then he's just around. And all the jokes about the head fakes and all the other stuff that he did when he got here that Sens fans and Leaf fans were making fun of, that's not even in his game. He just does small things and gets open and makes plays happen. There's nobody I've seen be able to create opportunities out of nothing like Lane Hutson has done for the Montreal Canadiens. And he's a rookie in the NHL playing on a rebuilding team. And he's tied for 9th in points in the NHL. He's 2 points away from being in the top 4, where you have guys like Makar, Werenski, Quinn Hughes, Shea Theodore, unexpectedly Adam Fox, etc.
Yeah.
That's not just good rookie numbers. That's elite NHL production from your defenseman. He blows my mind with just how truly stunningly good he is. It's incredible.
You mentioned the play that he got where he got the puck to Suzuki, who did the little bump pass over to Line and set up that 2-on-1. He had 2 points in the game, and that wasn't one of them. Like there are, even on plays where he's not registering a point, he is the motor behind this team's offense. He's not going to get a lot of points from his outlet passes because a lot of the times they've touched a lot of other players on the way down the ice, but his outlet pass is that important. And then the I think the assist was the Matheson to was it Matheson to Newhook? I think that was one he got an assist on. That was one where he used his legs and went up the ice. Like he's not a one-dimensional guy. I think watching him live, the thing I gained an even larger appreciation for was how fearless he is on the opposing team's blue line. Because there are so many times on TV where you watch him and you have the benefit of like seeing it from the top, of saying, okay, well, he's pretty close to the blue line. Puck's basically already on the blue line and he's fine. But when you're there and you're watching it, you realize how little room for error he actually has. And it's just astounding that a 20-year-old is playing with that level of confidence and poise in his ability. And on plays like that, he either, generates a scoring opportunity, he gets the puck down low, or there was, I think in the Carolina game or the San Jose game, one of those, he was drawing penalties doing that. Because he creates space by moving really sharply in either direction. We're so fortunate to be able to watch this kid play right now. Like he's only going to get better. Like it's kind of crazy to think that this might be the worst version of Lane Hutson we see. Like that's kind of a wild thing to think, but he's 20 years old.
And the thing is, too, is that he has that aura about him. Like, we watched this game, and we were talking about it in the pregame or before the recording, there was a lot of 4-on-4 in this game.
Yep.
And it's all I could think is you're giving him so much more space on the ice with a guy like Nick Suzuki who knows how to find soft spots and Cole Caulfield who can score from any angle whatsoever. And it's just, you're going to watch Lane Hutson be like, I'm going to drink this Mountain Dew and just go around this zone until you stop me or the puck is in the back of the net. And more often than not, that puck's ending up in the back of the net or creating chances. I don't know how he does it. I watched it in person. This is my first time ever getting to watch Lane Hutson in person. And I'm just astounded at just all the things he makes look so, so easy. And it makes me jealous for teams who have had defensemen like this for years. I watched prime PK Subban. I watched Andrei Markov in his prime. They were different types of players, but nobody has been able to match exactly what Lane Hutson does in this. It's magical. There's no other way to put it. He's absolutely a magical player.
What kept sticking out to me when I was watching the game last night was how big the Buffalo Sabres are compared to the Montreal Canadiens. It looked like men against boys, but then when they were playing, like the Canadiens were just skating circles around them. They were so much better than the Sabres. It's like, it just goes to show you can't just worship size, because size, you can have Lane Hutson skate circles around you, trick you, fake whatever, and just destroy you. And I think for me, like that was, I think the biggest takeaway is that skill counts. We get so many things about the Canadiens are too small. The Canadiens are too, you can't just have a big team. You have to have a big and talented team, and you can spread the size around. And then Lane Hutson doesn't need to be big. He's amazing.
No, I found that his rush defense was really great too. Like, yes, he's going to be easy to take advantage of down low because he's not big, but if he can stop those chances before they happen, which he was doing at his own blue line with some regularity, just knocking the puck away from guys, he doesn't have to worry about playing below the goal line very much, right? Like that's not going to be his skill set. And if he doesn't have to do it, that's awesome. Arbor Xhekaj and David Savara, those guys are built for that sort of play. They need to be really, really good at that because that's really all they bring. Hutson is not that kind of player. So yeah, I'm just over the moon about this kid.
He's so smart with it that we're watching him defend and we're sitting next to each other, and every single time that they break up a play or a cycle, the Sabres are getting in the zone. There's Tage Thompson in there. They have so-and-so. Hutson breaks it up, and the puck is, even if it's just chipped out of the zone, it breaks the cycle, and it forced the Sabres to reset. There were a few times they were able to get that set up. Other players were on the ice for things like that. He's just so smart, and pairing him with someone like Nick Suzuki, who is a very intelligent player, with Cole Caulfield, who finds open space, there's going to be so many opportunities when guys like Demidov is coming into this and other players in the future. It's just, he's so much more than just points, but people are going to look at the plus minus and be like, well, what about this? And it's like, well, the Habs were bad for 2 months. What do you want? Like,
and also he's 20. You guys forget about that. You forget how this is his first year playing professional hockey. Yeah. It's wild how we always seem to forget that when, he's a -3 on a given night, but then when he's putting up almost 50 points, everybody's all quiet. It's kind of crazy how that happens. Anyway.
Up next on Locked On Lane Hutson, we have a couple more points to make about the game, and then we're going to just recap the week as a whole, and that's coming up in just one moment here on Locked On Canadiens. This episode is brought to you by Wonderful Pistachios. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help you keep feeling fuller longer. Personally, I love the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab and go snack for busy days. Whether I'm snacking at my desk on a road trip or just need a quick protein boost, they're always my go-to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell options are a classic favorite. They're so, so delicious and so, so easy. Get snackin' and get crackin' with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. All right. I did want to talk about a little bit more about the game because we haven't even gotten to like the Christian Dvorak upward fails. And also the Mike Matheson meter is broken. It's broken. Like it went from tragic to magic to tragic to magic to it's like it's just broke. The needle it has given up.
Yeah, early in the game, Mike Matheson looked like he was playing with a joke stick that had a hole in it. They just every puck was going right through him. And I, like as I am one to do on Blue Sky, posted bad Matheson game because he was not playing well. And then, of course, he sets up the game-winning goal from Alex Newhook. And I think my only response was he locked in. Like, what are you going to do? He's locked in now. It's fine. Like, that's the kind of guy that Mike Matheson is. So our scale is from 1 to 5. Pick any number, and you're right. It's fine.
It's just an infinity symbol at this point. Like, we watched the full gamut of Mike Matheson last night, the good and the bad, the frustrating and the incredible, because when he's in, wow, smart play, moves the puck out, gets it to the red line, dumps it in, clears it out, sets up the game-winning goal, versus, wow, Christian Dvorak won 3 faceoffs in a row back to him, and all he did was ice the damn puck over and over and over. And it's
I've forgotten that.
If I tried to, it's like, it's just like
4 times at least.
It's like you want to strangle him sometimes, but then it's like he does something incredible, and you're like, okay, fine,
Michael.
fine.
Yes. Overall, the Canadiens were so much better than the Buffalo Sabres. I know the score seemed close, but they looked so much better. They were the better team. They were dominant, and the underlying numbers also prove that. What else did I want to talk about? I do want to get into that Greenaway Dovish thing real quick. Patrick Laine, good game.
Yeah, he was great. He didn't score, but set up another point. He's got points in every game following the Four Nations. The dude just looks like he's back to himself. It's really great to see.
And Cole Caulfield?
Caulfield.
Sorry, you were about to make a point. Sorry, go.
I was gonna say with Patrick Laine is the last time he played the Sabres is he just tortured Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen to the tune of a hat trick on 4 shots, I think, where he's scored on like 65% of his shots on Luukkonen in his NHL career. We watched him go to set up that Caulfield goal. We're like, he's gonna shoot it. It's Patrick Laine. He's gonna shoot it, and he passes it. And he's just passing it. Everything he set up tonight was Luukkonen is reading him shot only because of how often he's burned him. And Laine just used that to his advantage.
Yep.
He's still not all the way there. As Ian pointed out, we were there. He's halfway to the red line when they're still in the defensive zone half the time. But sometimes it works. So he was quiet but efficient in what he did. The one time he did shoot it, he still almost beat Luukkonen, and he was playing shot the whole way. It's when you have that kind of threat that this guy is going to shoot the puck, he's going to shoot it hard, he's going to shoot it wherever he wants it.
Yep.
It's such a unique talent to have in this lineup. And when he gets to 100%, I think it's going to add even another layer to what this Canadiens offense can do.
I saw 2 back checks from him in the game.
Incredible work. Like, that's 2 more than I expect. The last one we got to talk about is Christian Dvorak. We've teased it was a great game from him. He sent Rasmus Dahlin into the shadow realm. That was one of them. It happened right in front of us. Like, when I was picking out tickets, I thought the Canadiens would score more on our end. They didn't. The only goal we saw in front of us was the empty netter. It's fine. But we did see the funniest part of the game, which was Christian Dvorak just like Patrick Kane-esque waiting out Rasmus Dahlin. He goes sliding into the corner. It was one of the funniest things of the season so far. Scott and I laughed for probably 20 minutes. It was incredible.
The wildest part is that he had just before that, he set up Josh Anderson on a really great passing play all the way around. It was that Lane Hutson, Hail Mary to the other, like going to the other end of the ice there, setting everything up when he rushed the puck in. He passes it to Dvorak. I'm like, he's got all day to shoot this. Luukkonen is down. He's in the butterfly. Like, he's down the entire top half of the net's there. And I watched Dvorak spin, and all I could think is, no, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
And then Anderson scored. And nobody knew that he scored because we all just assumed that Dvorak to Anderson was not going to result in a goal, which, not to be mean, kind of fair anyways, but it counted. Christian Dvorak on the night, according to Money Puck, had a 1.11 expected goals total. The Sabres and he didn't score. He had 2 assists.
Classic Devo.
The Sabres
multi-point masterclass from Christian Dvorak.
Yeah.
The Sabres had 1.4 expected goals at all situations at 5-on-5.
Incredible.
Nice work.
I'm at a loss for words how that manages to happen. So good for Devo, I guess.
Yeah.
Laura, let's do the Dobish thing to set up the Buffalo game in the weekly forecast. Let's finish up on the week here.
Finish up on the week. All right. 3 wins, only wins. They had only wins. Ironically, the one that looked the hardest for them was the one against the worst team. We did talk about that in that San Jose recap. Why? We don't know. We still can't figure it out. They looked so good against Carolina, surprisingly. Like we were all dreading that game, and it turned out to be really good. They looked fantastic against Buffalo. The score was closer than the game was. But against San Jose, not so much. So if I ask you guys who were the players of the week, or at least the player of the week, and then the player we're looking for more improvement on, who would you say?
My player of the week is Nick Suzuki. Guy put the team on his back. Back over point per game. He's probably the last person on the planet that cares about that. But I mean, if he's at a point per game, the team's probably going. So yes, I care as well. I think he was just incredible. Guy I want to see more from, I think, is Arbor Xhekaj. I think his pairing, him and Savard, turned into a bit of a black hole. Not enough from them.
He's not having a good time, bro.
No, and I will say, I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit here, because coming out of the Four Nations, I said when they beat Ottawa, Montreal has the easiest remaining schedule, and that nobody should be surprised if they crawl their way back into this. And as we sit here and talk about the Canadiens right now, they have the 19th easiest remaining schedule, so they've moved up a bit because they had to. I mean, they've played the Sabres and the Sharks this week, but they're 3 points out of a playoff spot. This is not over. Like, so if you phoned it in, they got to sell whatever, it's over. It's not over, guys. Like, I know it sounded like hopium before. It's not. They like the numbers support them. They have to beat Boston, who's in free fall, and Ottawa, who's in free fall. Come on, they can do that. Anyway,
they can do that.
I
They could do
digress.
that. And Pierre LeBrun today said that the Canadians aren't for sure selling Jake Evans. So
Whole
Schrodinger's
bunch of
Jake
nothing,
Evans.
by the way.
Yeah.
Just whole bunch of nothing. I'm so
it's a
tired of insiders. Just wake me up when you've got a trade that's at Central Registry. Okay, I don't need. They might do something. They might do nothing. Cool. Glad I wasted my phone battery looking at this. Anyway,
Scott, who was your player of the week, and who do you want to see more from?
I'm gonna actually make Juraj Slafkovsky my player of the week, I think, just
Yeah.
because since even if he wasn't on the board against Buffalo and he didn't have as many points as like Nick Suzuki or Cole Caulfield or even Patrick Laine, completely rejuvenated player. There are plays there, the efforts there, that nasty little bit of snarl in his game is there. It's everything you want to see out of Juraj Slafkovsky. Second half Slav is a very real thing.
Yep.
I thought against Buffalo, he wasn't on the board, but there were chances. He played really, really well, and he used that frame against a bigger Buffalo team there. I do want to see more from Arbor Xhekaj. I think he's capable of more. That game against Buffalo it was not great, and he's going to probably have his hands full on Monday because as this game ended, we learned that men are too emotional to lead and or be in sports, apparently.
Laura, what are your guys?
Oh, my guys are. I was gonna say for the who I want to see more from. Nobody yell at me. I want to see more from Montembeault.
That's a fair pick.
Did not love it.
No,
Against
he went from shutout against Carolina to it didn't look like he was going to stop a single thing against San Jose.
Yeah.
Like he ended up, yes, he made a lot of saves. None of them looked comfortable. So I think that's a completely fair pick.
That's why I was just a little bit hesitant because, you know, I know he had that shutout. I know he looked good in that one. And then he just, you know, whatever it is, it fell apart. You know, when we talk about how good teams, they can beat bad teams easily. Like that goes for the goaltender as well. And my player of the week actually is Cole Caulfield. And it's because I want to remind everybody that he now only has 11 goals to go. And there's 22 games with which to do it in. And he is going to, in my mind, hit 40 this season. And we're going to talk about the rest of the week, and we're going to get into that Dovish Greenaway thing in just a moment. You're on Locked On Lane Hutson. All right. Ian, you got home before I got home, and you prepped the weekly forecast. The only thing I remember is that there is a stupid Buffalo game on Monday. Why do we have to have games on Monday? I hate that. And then we have Edmonton at 1:00 on Thursday or Wednesday.
It's Thursday. You got it right. Yeah. So the week is one last home game against Buffalo. This will end that season series. Then heading out west, starting in Alberta. I know Scott's favorite place. Everyone loves him out there. Edmonton and Calgary to finish out the week. We'll start in Buffalo. As we teased before, the end of the game on Saturday leads us to believe there will be some fireworks on Monday. Jordan Greenway gets pasted into the end boards behind Jakub Dobiš. I believe it was Struble that got him, and he should have easily gotten a board. Like it was the Chris Lee's bad both ways, man. He's terrible. He's not good at his job. Scott made sure that he heard it.
Several times before I realized there was a child sitting next to us, and I had told Chris Lee I am in his blanking walls after he missed a really obvious interference penalty. So
yeah,
and I hosted this show with Scott for 5 years, and we've never been to a game together.
Really? Wow.
That was my first Scott Matla to Habs game experience.
Yeah, I mean, I used to go see Danbury Trashers games, so Scott would have fit right in there in the 1-0 as we'd call it. Greenway gets up from getting hit behind the net. He's skating out. Dobiš looks over his shoulder at him, apparently says something. We don't know what, but it drew the ire of Jordan Greenway, who turned around and kind of looked all tough and mean against a rookie goaltender who barely speaks coherent English. And Joe Yerdon has had what Greenway had to say after the game. He says he was talking ridiculousness. I was just letting him know we play them on Monday, and we're going to be coming. So hopefully he relays it to his guys. I hope Jordan Greenway related to his guys that they also played on Saturday. I don't know if you know that, but that was at the end of the game where a lot of them just looked pretty bad. We talked about how we want to see more from Arbor Xhekaj. Here it is. You know what I mean? Like this is they are handing Arbor Xhekaj a classic X moment right now. Like it's gonna happen on Monday is what it looks like.
And the thing is, Xhekaj and Greenway went at it all night. They got matching roughing penalties late in the third period that we thought they're just going to come out of the box, punch each other in the face. Everybody's going to be happy and we're done here because the game got unexpected. They went after Dobish all night after the whistle. Beck Malenstein came in and like took a swipe right at his chest, and Jaden Struble slammed him so hard to the ice, I thought he knocked him unconscious in front of us.
Me too.
Speaking of people who will probably have their hands full on Monday, Jaden Struble probably doesn't have many admirers in the Sabres dressing room right now. He's the one who hit Greenway. He threw some dudes around in that game. It's gonna be stupid. But
it's certified goon Lane Hutson. There were so many of those scrums where Hutson was the first one in there. Like this dude, he's trying to do everything he possibly can. Look, this is the last game between the Canadiens and the Sabres this year. Montreal is 3-0. This was the one we saw on Saturday was the only game Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen made it through. So baby steps, I guess, if you're the Buffalo Sabres. My key to that game, let the Sabres throw their tantrum. They're going to be upset. They're going to come in, play emotional. You're probably going to have to weather a bit of a storm for a few minutes. It's Buffalo, though. I wouldn't, even if they score once, maybe even twice, I'm not worried about it. But they're going to come in and play a little upset. And we'll see how they handle that. And if we can get another Canadian heritage moment out of Arbor Xhekaj, that's the sort of thing I'm looking for on Monday night.
Go ahead, Laura. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, my only thing is there's going to be that ridiculousness at the beginning of the game. Do not fall for it. Just weather it. That's my key to the game. Just don't fall for it.
Yep.
Stay out of the box. Like the Canadiens were pretty well behaved in this game, all things considered, with stuff. And stay out of the box. And if the Sabres want to throw a tantrum, do all these things after the whistle to whomever is in net. I assume it will be Samuel Montembeault. Let them and punish them at either 4-on-4, 5-on-4 on the power play. You did it in Buffalo, and they were probably lucky to not score more in that game. The opportunity is absolutely there for them to really put this game away early and just kind of let the rest of the air out of that Sabres balloon. It's the most apathetic crowd of Buffalo sports fans I've ever seen, and I watched the Bills lose in the playoffs in person, and last night was still more depressing than that.
Woof. Quick programming note on that game. I know it's a Monday night game, but it will not be on Amazon, so it is a 7:00 start. Just keeping everybody honest here. We're kind of used to the home games on Mondays being 7:30 at this point. It is not 7:00 start. You all get to go to bed on time. All right. Edmonton Thursday night. So they get a couple days off traveling out west. That's the last game before the trade deadline. That game against Edmonton. The Oilers are 35-21-4 for 74 points, second in the Pacific, eighth in the NHL, but they are struggling a bit lately. 3-6-1 in their last 10. The Canadiens won the first matchup, a 3-0 shutout back on November 18th. That one was on Amazon, and it was one of their best games that we had seen to that point. It was kind of the first time where we started to believe maybe this team was kind of good. McDavid, 75 points in 54 games, and he's still not even the leading scorer on his team. Leon Draisaitl, 90 points in 60 games, also leads the league with 44 goals. They have the 7th best power play at 25%. They have the 26th ranked penalty kill at 75%. So that's probably their Achilles heel right now. Stuart Skinner, starter most nights, but he is an 898 and a 287 with 2 shutouts. Kind of sounds like Sam Montembeault, come to think of it. You could have told me those were Sam Montembeault's stats, and I'd probably believe you. The Oilers control 53.8% of the expected goals at 5-on-5, which is 4th in the league. But like Carolina, they're not overly physical. 31st in percentage of hits given, 38.5%. They take a lot of carnage. Thoughts
they always
on
have the puck.
They always have the puck, which is what we said about Carolina, right?
Yeah.
And that kind of bit Carolina, though, because there was a lot of moments where the Canadiens just got the puck in deep and Carolina just kind of ceded the puck to them. I'm wondering if we see a similar thing against Edmonton this time around. Anything else we should be looking out for in that one?
I mean, I'm looking at this team and I go, it's so ridiculously top heavy that they have 3 really good like star players in Draisaitl, McDavid, and Bouchard, and then it's just a cliff. Like Nugent Hopkins has 37 points, Hyman has 34 after he scored 50 goals last year, and it just falls off that if you can hone in and do the Danault thing to McDavid or Placanitz or whomever it is, and you take him out of the way, you've got and just for the love of God, stay out of the box. Just don't give them the opportunity.
Yep.
The Habs usually play McDavid and co pretty well, but every now and then he's just, I'm Connor McDavid. I can do whatever I want. But there's just a lot of guys who do not score on this team.
No.
Take advantage of the depth. That third line with Dvorak, Anderson, and Gallagher, they all have, or not Dvorak, but they can score. You've got that second line that, as long as you keep them away from the McDavid group, I think you're going to be all right. I think that there's a real opportunity here, and especially that Habs fourth line. I'll take that against almost any fourth line in the NHL, if not anything else. I think that there's a good opportunity there for them to potentially really shock some people with this game.
Yeah. Anything from you, Laura, on that one?
I was just, you're saying like the Oilers are struggling as of late. I distinctly remember we had this exact same conversation before the last time the Canadiens played them when they came to
They
town.
started badly this year.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. So I think Scott's right on with that, with the depth that the Canadiens have. They can just kind of counter that. You just have to contain that top line there.
Yep. That's a 9:00 start on Thursday, but we are back to a 7:00 start Saturday in Calgary. Thankfully, that's a Hockey Night in Canada game, so they will put that on nice and early for us on the East Coast. Calgary 28, 23, and 8, 64 points, 5th in the Pacific, 18th in the National Hockey League. Montreal fell to Calgary 3-2 in overtime back in November. Gallagher and Armia had goals in that one. Coronado tied the game and won it in overtime. Kadri and Huberdeau lead the way with 43 points for Calgary, which is shocking because there are 3 players on the Canadiens who would leave the Calgary Flames in points. That's kind of wild. Yeah. Power play 22.1%, 18th in the league. Penalty kill 73%, 28th in the league. This week is setting up to be one where the Canadiens need to feast on the power play across the board. Like, the penalty kills that they're playing against are pedestrian. My key to every game, and will be the key against this Calgary game, is protect the puck. The last time they played Calgary, they lost the giveaway battle 21-11.
Oh, I remember that. Was that when you first started counting them?
That is exactly when I first started taking this stat into account. Because that was like that, the Pittsburgh game and the Washington game and they just handed the puck over for 3 straight nights. That can't happen. And I think Montreal's been doing a better job in that regard. So I'm not expecting that kind of result, but that's what we're looking at in Calgary. Any thoughts from you guys on that game?
Calgary's a lot more underwhelming than I thought. They have a day off
they're
between.
Supposed to be in the toilet, and they're not in the toilet, so everyone.
I don't know what they're trying to do. I don't get Calgary this year at all.
They obviously have the trade deadline off, but they play in Dallas, travel home, then play Montreal, and then they're off after that. So I assume we're getting Dustin Wolf in that game, which he's not the biggest goaltender in the world. So if you get the opportunity, make him move, pick your upper corners on there. He's not a super big goaltender. So
stick Slav in front of him like they have been.
Pretty much.
That'll be good. Yeah. Lane Hutson's going to score 4 goals if they stick Slav in front of him.
Someone will. It's the kind of game that I can't tell you how it's going to go, but it's one that I can take the Oilers game as a loss. The Calgary game is one of those games that I don't think they should lose this week on that.
Yeah,
they should be getting 2 out of 3 games this week minimum. It'd be nice if they got points in all 3 at the very least.
Yep. Stay in the mix. They're right there. This is a crucial week for them. We've been saying that for a while, but as long as they keep winning, they're going to be pivotal weeks moving forward. That's the way I look at it. And that's this is the thing that these guys play for. So really fun stuff. If you're a Canadiens fan right now, it's kind of nice to be able to be heading into slightly warmer weather and having the Canadiens playing meaningful games for the first time since they were in the Cup final.
Yes.
All right, let's hit our trivia and then head out of here. Last week's question, with goals against the Hurricanes and the Sharks last week, there are only 2 teams remaining that Nick Suzuki has not scored against. Who are they? The answers were Utah Hockey Club, which is sort of the free space for most of these questions moving forward because the NHL decided that they are not the Arizona Coyotes moved. They are a new franchise. This league does not make any sense. And the LA Kings, both teams that Nick Suzuki has not played very often in his career. Super Rain first, Good Sport second. These 2 are constantly battling for the trivia. I always love waking up and seeing that you guys are proving how smart you are. All right. Today's question. In 3 games this year against the Buffalo Sabres, Lane Hutson has 6 points, all assists. Who was the last Habs rookie with at least 6 points in a season against the Buffalo Sabres? So the last Canadiens rookie to have at least 6 points in a season series against the Buffalo Sabres, regular season only, obviously, on this one. If you have the answer, put it in the comments. Send it to us via email, lockedoncanians@gmail.com. We'll shout you out on the next episode of the show.
And we're going to let you guys think about that and send them to us. You can contact us at lockedoncanadiens@gmail.com. You can find us all over social media, Locked On Canadiens on TikTok, Locked On Canadiens on Instagram, Locked On Canadiens on Blue Sky, and you can send us responses there as well as any mailbag questions that you might have. You'll find us all over social media. Ian is at the Active Stick. Ian is at, maybe it's Ian. I'm at the Active Stick.
I'll forward anything to Laura that I get. It's fine.
It's fine. I'll become your secretary. Make sure you're subscribed to this podcast on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. It's about to be a really fun few weeks, I think, for the Montreal Canadiens. So make sure you check us out. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to Scott for being here. And we will see you all next time.